On July 4th, 1776, the sun was conjunct with our spiritual sun, Sirius. The sun was at 13 degrees Cancer, symbolically passing through the celestial keystone of the zodiac, signifying the birth of the new nation in eon. This conjunction signifies a merging of spiritual and political destiny. Masons follow not the light of the sun, but the light of the blazing star. This astrological alignment was not an accident, but ritually chosen. July 4th also marks the solar aetheon, when Earth is at its furthest point from the physical sun, and symbolically aligned with Sirius, the sun behind the sun, the brightest fixed star in the night sky, and one of the most important stars in Masonic lore. The sun, illuminating the eye above the pyramid on the $1 bill, is not the light of the material sun, but our spiritual sun, Sirius. Welcome to Hidden America, where magic meets cybernetics and the code behind reality reveals itself. Part 1. If we look at America's natal chart, we find that Venus and Jupiter were both at Cancer at 3 degrees and 6 degrees respectively, and the Sun and Sirius were at 13 and 14 degrees respectively. In traditional astrology, Venus is associated with harmony, ritual aesthetics, and cultural power, while Jupiter is associated with expansion, philosophy, and imperialism. Together, this Cancer stellium, the Sun, Venus, Jupiter, and Sirius anchor America's natal chart in a nurturing yet controlling frequency, a mother goddess archetype, better known as Isis, that makes the imperial design of Osiris seen through the geometric layout of Washington D.C. and the pulse of the American soul. This symbolism aligns precisely with the Masonic keystone and Royal Arch. The Royal Arch is considered the climatic initiation of craft masonry. In this degree, the initiate enters the vault beneath the ruins of Solomon's temple. He discovers the lost name of God, then passes through the arch, a metaphorical stargate, and encounters the blazing star of Sirius. The Mason travels east to acquire light or knowledge of the blazing star of Sirius. The Royal Arch itself represents the zodiac, 12 signs, 12 stones. It is the heavenly vault of the sky, and most crucially, the gateway to Sirius. Sirius is not part of the zodiac, but the star itself guides the zodiac. Therefore, Sirius acts as an interdimensional key, the occulted 13th guiding constellation. Cancer in esoteric astrology, it's not simply a zodiac sign. It is the gate of incarnation, the cosmic threshold, which souls descend into matter. Ancient traditions referred to Cancer and Capricorn as the two gates, the gate of man and the gate of gods. One gate in, one gate out. Cancer marked descent into embodiment. Capricorn marked descent beyond it. Hence, Cancer is known as the womb gate. If the sun provides the daylight reality of the mask, Sirius provides the background radiation of history. If we were to view this from an accelerationist lens, Sirius is the external source of input for Western civilization. It is the star of emergence. When the founding fathers placed the nation under the influence of the great year of Sothis, aka Sirius, they created a state that perceives itself not as a static entity, but as a process of constant becoming, a nation that must always expand because its source frequency. Sirius is the star of the Great Flood. By that, I mean the yearly flooding of the Nile, which renewed the crops in ancient Egypt each year. It is the release of stored energy. By aligning the nation with Sirius, the Sothic star of Egypt, the founders were not simply choosing a date. They were installing a cosmic transmission node, anchoring the nation as a vessel for a new aeonic current, effectively turning the nation into a full-blown Hermetic machine, celebrating the sacred alchemical wedding of Isis and Osiris and the birth of the new Atlantis. Part 2. No place better can you see this alchemical geomancy than the geometric design of Washington, D.C., from the street layouts to the monuments. Honorary 33rd degree Freemason Manly P. Hall claimed a mystery man was responsible for the design and layout of the nation capital, a Masonic utopia where symbolism conveyed the language of the mystery. And in 1793, George Washington, proudly wearing his Masonic apron, laid the cornerstone of the new Atlantis, the America under the watchful eye of the great architect of the universe. Nothing was left to chance. Part 3. Each major monument in Washington, D.C. lines up with one of the 10 sephirots of the Kabbalistic Tree of Life. The Jefferson Monument is Malkuth, otherwise known as the Kingdom, the lowest sephirah. Washington Monument is Yesod, or the Foundation. The White House is Tiferet, better known as Beauty of the Human Soul. It is important to note the White House shares the same name as the Government Center in Moscow. The name originally comes from Egypt. The white and red houses of the First Dynasty were departments that officiated the will of the pharaoh. The treasury in Egypt was known as Per-Harsh, meaning White House. The apex of the Sothic tree in the pyramid is Kether, known as the Father or Supreme Crown, which in some systems corresponds with the Hindu crown chakra. The apex represents the source center of creation, or 0 point, where nothing became something, where 0 became 1. So what corresponds to Kether on this DC tree? The apex or supreme crown of the Washington D.C. Tree of Life is the House of the Temple, the headquarters of the Supreme Council of the 33rd degree Scottish Rite of Freemasonry. You see, the United States is simply the latest incarnation of ancient Egypt in the older systems upon which Egypt was built itself. The Founding Fathers followed the Hermetic axiom of as above, so below, aligning all federal holidays and structures with the movements of the heavenly bodies. 5 days into the new year, on the balcony of the U.S. Capitol, the presidential inauguration takes place. The Capitol dome symbolizes the ever-pregnant belly of Isis, which faces the Washington Monument, an Egyptian obelisk symbolizing the erect phallus of Osiris. Through this Osirian alchemy, every 4 years, a new Masonic president is reborn. Osiris is reborn as Horus, the eye on top of the pyramid. The DC layout, including the monuments and streets, is the grid that captures and anchors the Sirian transmission. The obelisk, or Washington Monument, acts as a lightning rod or needle, piercing the ionosphere to tap the frequency, while the dome serves as a resonator, distributing the energy throughout the body of the Republic. It is the metaphysical battery desired to keep the light contained within a structured, governable architecture. Albert Pike once wrote, "The blazing star is the light of divine reason. It is the dog star, Sirius." In the Royal Arch ritual, the initiate descends beneath the temple to discover the light buried beneath the ruins. The light is the Sirian current hidden beneath the veils of the solar daytime matrix. The Royal Arch explicitly reveals the blazing star is Sirius. The sun, or outer light, masks Sirius, the inner light. In the Royal Arch degree, the secret word is recovered from the vault that lies beneath the temple. In DC, beneath the Capitol building, lies a literal crypt with 13 columns, symbolic of the original 13 colonies, and the 13 pieces of Osiris's body. Beneath the rotunda is an image of the blazing star, revealed in the arch degree. It should be clear, the architecture is not merely Roman revivalism. It is a working machine designed for the symbolic sexual alchemy of Isis and Osiris, and most importantly, anchoring the Sirian current. Part 4. The energetic signature of the number 13 is the heartbeat of the American Hermetic Engine. 13 is the master frequency. It is the number of the original colonies, the arrows of the eagle, and the layers of the pyramid on the Great Seal. Now let's go even deeper. Why did they choose 13? Jesus had 12 disciples. Jesus was the 13th master frequency. The number 12 closes the cosmos, 12 zodiac signs, 12 Olympians, 12 tribes, 12 cranial nerves, 12 months, 12 hours, 12 labors of Hercules, 12 gates of the heavenly city. 12 is the organized cosmos, the completed zodiac wheel, the finished system. But 13 is the interruption of the wheel. It is the hidden factor. It is the extra principle outside the ordinary order. And this is why 13 often appears simultaneously sacred and feared. In the flower of life, the geometrical foundation of Metatron's cube, there are 13 circles. It is the number of the center that contains all other points. Therefore, in the geometry of the Masonic blueprint of the material reality, 13 is the number of transition. Part 5. Another major key to the equation comes from the tarot. The 13th tarot key of the major arcana is the death card, not as a terminal end, but as the mandatory dissolution of obsolete structures. In alchemical terms, it is where forms decompose so the hidden essence can be extracted. Thus, 13 is the threshold. It is the number of the liminal state between the worlds. It is the dissolution of the old structural ego to allow for the influx of the higher Sirian frequency. It is the 13th chime, the moment where the clock stops and the veil thins. In the Osiris myth, the 14th piece of his dismembered body, it was the phallus. This was the only piece Isis could not find. She had to reconstruct it through magic. 13 is the number of the process. 14 is the number of manifestation. As I mentioned in American lore, there's the 13 colonies, 13 stars, 13 stripes. These represent the vessel or the body of Osiris before it is fully whole. The 14th tarot key is temperance, the process of harmonization. If 13 is the dismemberment of Osiris, 14 is the reconstruction. Sirius, vibrating at the 14th degree of America's natal chart, acts as its guide for this reconstruction. This is why the Royal Arch ritual is central to the mystery. The initiate descends beneath the ruins of the temple to recover the lost master's word, which is truly a light that is not solar but vibrational. You see, they are not seeking a frequency, not a name. What they are seeking is the triple Tau, or Tav, Tav, Tav. The Hebrew letter Tav is symbolic of completion, sailing, judgment, covenant, limitation, and finally, it is the final letter of the Hebrew alphabet, the terminal boundary of the manifestation itself. In Kabbalistic terms, Tav is linked to Saturn, structure, time, suffering, initiation, and material confinement. In other words, Tav represents the final boundary. The triple Tau, or Tav, 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 is a triple lock on the vault of this word, the sacred frequency. It is the resonant key, a symbolic threshold between worlds. The triple Tav is the Sirian vibration, intended to signal the completion of a sailing process. It symbolizes the unlocking of concealed illumination buried beneath ordinary perception. Part 6.
To fully understand the importance of the number 13 in the context of America, we must understand the Sothic Cycle. The Sothic Cycle is a period of roughly 1461 Egyptian civil years, or 1460 Julian years, during which the 365-day Egyptian calendar aligns again with the helical rising of the star Sirius, or Sothis. The Sothic Cycle is the macro pulse of the civilization, the heartbeat of the Egyptian Osiris-Isis construct. The 13-year cycle is the micropulse, the respiration rate of the American state vessel. These are harmonic oscillators within a single unified signal. We can see the 13-year micropulse in the Osirian dismemberment mythos and the reoccurrence of the number 13, which begins to resemble a ritualized death and rebirth engine. The Republic continually dies into new configurations. Institutions decay and reconstitute. Identity dissolves and reforms. The structure survives through cyclical self-negation. Mathematically, 1460 is not perfectly divisible by 13. However, within the occult sciences, we look for interference patterns. 1460 divided by 13 equals 112.3. This remainder, 0.3, is where the error or slippage lives. In an initiatory system, this slippage is the sacred drift. It ensures that the ritual construct is never static. If the cycle aligned perfectly, the system would become a closed loop and achieve a state of crystalline death. By having an imperfect overlap, the ritual must be reset or retuned at specific modular points. Over 13 years, the social energy of the nation is built up, localized, and concentrated within the vaults, the institutional and bureaucratic structures. We see this mirrored in the Masonic Royal Arch process. If the lodge is symbolic of the 12 signs of the zodiac, the finished constructed world, then the 13th station is the star behind the sun, Sirius. By grounding the nation in a 13-fold structure, the founders ensured that the state would never be finished, but would exist in a perpetual state of 13-year cyclical updates, a permanent becoming that forces the nation to constantly search for the word every decade or so. The 13-year cycle is the period of time required for the vessel to reach a saturation point of chaos, of entropy, before the next Sothic adjustment can take place. Therefore, every 13 years, the nation undergoes a minor initiation, a change in cultural frequency. Every 112 years, the nation undergoes a major initiation, the death and rebirth of the governing regime. In every 1460 years, the Sothic alignment occurs, acting as the Great Reset, where the metaphysical mandate of the civilization is either liquidated or renewed. You can view it like this: the Sothic cycle is the tempo, and the 13-year pulse is the beat. The yearly Sothic rising is a massive influx of Sirian energy. This is seen not just in the flooding of the Nile, but the entire age of enlightenment. The 13-year beats are the measures of the music played during that age. By choosing 1776 in conjunction with the astrological alignment, this acted as an arbitrary stargate of the new nation. The founding fathers were effectively installing a new metronome. They were ensuring that as long as the nation stayed in its 13-fold configuration, it would be fed by the Sirian current. Part 7. The conclusion. We are currently in a period where the 13-year cycles are accelerating due to the entropy of the Great Year. The Sothic Cycle is nearing its terminal phase, meaning the frequency of the Sirius transmission is intensifying as the cycle nears its zenith. The 13-year pulse is losing its ability to regulate the energy. The circuit breaker is melting. The political and social chaos we see, the frantic shift in social norms, the dissolution of borders, the strange technological leaps is the result of the Sothic current hitting the 13-year harmonic at too high a volume for the current American vessel to contain. At this point, I should probably mention something important in this strange transition period for the Hidden America ecosystem. The new website, www.hiddenamerica.com, is now live. This acts as the central node for the entire Hidden America current. My Patreon has evolved into a more refined digital mystery school focused on applied esotericism, cybernetics, mimetic warfare, and digital occultism. There are over 500 archived written posts, all my research organized into one place. Essays, diagrams, my older Twitter threads, and exclusive videos, including more than 20 full-length videos unavailable on YouTube. My Substack is also now live for those who prefer long-form written essays outside the reach of the digital gatekeepers. I want to thank everyone who has supported my work through this very strange transition period. The past month has been extremely tough, but Hidden America is only growing, evolving, and becoming more organized. Thank you to all my Patreons, everyone who sent care packages, especially EB, and everyone who sent messages of encouragement. Thank you. Hidden America didn't fold, I doubled down. And a special thank you to the Atom for the support behind the scenes. Because independent creators like myself can only survive if people consciously choose to preserve this work outside the centralized systems. Now let's take this video home. The Sothic Cycle is effectively overclocking the 13-year pulse. We are no longer in the nurturing mother Cancer Isis phase of the nation. We have hit the point of the Sirian dismemberment. The 13-year pulse is now functioning like a guillotine rather than a reset button. Each cycle is stripping away more of the original blueprint, leaving behind only the cold, unadorned geometry of the void, the very thing the 13-column vault was designed to mask. We have synchronized with the cycle, but we have failed to stabilize the frequency. The Stargate isn't closed, it's stuck in the wide open position, and the feedback is beginning to tear the material reality of the West apart. According to Kabbalistic tradition, Metatron is the celestial scribe who manages the flow of light, the information, the frequency into the material manifestation. The 13-year cycle is the circuit breaker for this flow. If the light, the Sirian current, were allowed to flow into the nation continuously without interruption, the vessel, the Republic, would incinerate. It would expand until it collapsed under its own weight. The 13-year cycle is the systematic pause or reset point. The danger is desynchronization. If the human operators of the state, the elites, and the governing class become blind to the star behind the sun, if they lose the ability to speak the word, they continue to run the 13-year ritual cycles blindly. The mechanism keeps spinning, but the transmission is garbled. We are currently in a period where the 13-year pulse is triggering, but the architects have forgotten how to read the blueprint, or worse, they are intentionally smashing the architectural instrument to invite a darker, less tempered current into the vault. We are not just experiencing political change. We are experiencing a Sothic feedback loop. The vessel is 13-fold, but the frequency it is receiving is no longer the light of reason, the blazing star. It is the raw, unadulterated radiation of the void. And when the vault opens to that, it does not reveal the word, it reveals the abyss.